Everything seems to be in place for the Raiders except for one crucial decision. They've nearly finalized their coaching staff to gear up for the 2025 season. The only thing left that could shape their future is naming the starting quarterback for the upcoming season. And it is the offseason, which means ideas are floating around. The Raiders have plenty of quarterback options in front of them right now, but their first decision will be whether they want to fully commit to a rebuilding phase and start fresh with a rookie QB, or if they'll bring in a veteran QB to focus on immediate results. The last option would be to stick with the QBs they already have for one more season and see how things play out. So in this video, we'll explore all the quarterback options currently available to the Raiders and figure out which one seems the most feasible. What's up, buddies? Welcome back. If you are new here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We cover all AFC West news here on this channel. This time, along with Mark Davis, Tom Brady is heavily involved in the QB search, since he's now a minority owner. And honestly, that's a good thing for the Raiders. Even Carroll acknowledged Brady's involvement in the search for a quarterback as they gear up for the 2025 season. We happen to have the greatest of all time to help us and to see clearly. And we're going to lean on Tom Brady as much as we possibly can for his insights because nobody has the insights that he has. Okay, now, moving to the QB options, and first let me share what Pro Football Focus is predicting about this decision by the Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders did not hire Pete Carroll for a long rebuild. At 73 years old, Carroll is unlikely to be there for the long haul, which means the Raiders need to take a step to challenge sooner rather than later. Aaron Rodgers, though, could be available for a trade and potentially make Vegas a challenger. Rodgers is a relatively cheap experiment in 2025. He would only cost $9.5 million against the cap and $37.5 million in cash for the year. With more than $90 million in cap space, the Raiders can then also make moves to enhance Rodgers' chances of succeeding. Davante Adams reunion, anyone? But here is the problem. We still don't know what Rodgers actually wants. Does he really want to join a Raiders team stuck in the AFC West, competing with the Kansas City Chiefs and two rising teams in the Los Angeles Chargers and Denver Broncos, all while having to learn a new playbook and adjust to new teammates? Even ESPN radio host and New York Yankees broadcaster Michael Kay believes that Jets' Aaron Glenn is going to keep Rodgers for at least the upcoming year. And as per SpotRack, Rodgers has a $23.5 million cap hit and a dead cap hit of $49 million in 2025, so that might see any potential move be a little tough. Technically, this doesn't seem like the right decision either. Rodgers is already 41 and nearing retirement, so signing him would mean the Raiders couldn't rely on him long-term and would soon find themselves searching for a quarterback again. And, deciding on a quarterback isn't that simple. The entire offensive unit revolves around the quarterback, so it would make more sense to consider an option that could work with the Raiders for at least 5 to 6 years. This way, the Raiders can build their offensive roster around that quarterback for the long run. But this is the NFL, and anything can happen at any time. Another name that has been surrounded by plenty of rumors is veteran quarterback Russell Wilson, and Wilson's name has always been closely linked with Pete Carroll. Another name that has been surrounded by plenty of rumors is veteran quarterback Russell Wilson, and Wilson's name has always been closely linked with Pete Carroll. With Carroll joining the Raiders as head coach, several rumors started swirling about the possibility of a reunion between him and Russell Wilson. Initially, the narrative made some sense. However, Wilson himself shot down the possibility of him being the answer in a recent interview. I'm looking forward to hopefully going back to the Steelers, and we'll see what happens with the rest. I love it in Pittsburgh. Wilson is set to become a free agent this offseason unless the Pittsburgh Steelers decide to re-sign him. Steelers owner Art Rooney said it was unlikely for the team to sign both Wilson and Justin Fields for the 2025 season, so there's doubt surrounding Wilson's future. Wilson has shot down the idea of retirement for the 2025 season, claiming he has more in the tank, and he has good words for Pete Carroll too. Pete's going to be a great coach, obviously. He's great at what he does. But I'm focused on the Steelers. So now the ball is in the Steelers' court. If they let go of Wilson, then most probably the next destination will be the Raiders. And the fit between Wilson and the Raiders could be intriguing. With the possibility of a new coaching staff and a fresh start, Wilson could be rejuvenated and provide a significant upgrade over Minshew and O'Connell. So now no more discussion on Russell Wilson too. Interestingly, the Raiders have got a suggestion from a former quarterback himself. Kurt Benkert said on X that there are a few teams that would have for sure been elevated with Justin Fields over their current situation. Among others, he named the Raiders. So is Kurt Benkert right in his assessment? Let's break it down. Justin Fields is a 25-year-old quarterback who is, like Wilson, currently at Pittsburgh Steelers. If we are to go by stats, he's not half bad. In fact, when Steelers' superstar quarterback, Russell Wilson, was unavailable for the first 6 games of the 2024 regular season, Fields started and had a 4-2 record. In those 6 games, he ranked 5th in rushing yards among all quarterbacks and tied for 5th with 5 rushing touchdowns. In Week 4, Fields threw for 367 yards and had 3 touchdowns against the Colts. However, in the 10 games during the regular season, Fields had 1,106 yards and 5 touchdowns. Also, he had 16 sacks and 1 interception as well. To make things more interesting, after the Steelers' season got over in the wildcard round, there have been reports about how the Steelers' offensive coordinator wanted Fields to continue despite Wilson's return. Clearly, Fields has made a few fans. Now that both Russell Wilson and Justin Fields are heading into free agency, and the Steelers' owner has mentioned the possibility of signing one of them, it'll be interesting to see which direction the Steelers go. Most likely, the Steelers will start the 2025 season with Justin Reid. He's younger and has already proven that he can perform well. In the 2025 free agency, another prominent name is Zach Wilson. Unfortunately, the past season hasn't been kind to him. Acquired from the Jets in a late-round pick swap last April, Wilson competed with Knicks for the Broncos' starting job during the 2024 preseason, but came up short. He also lost the competition with Stidham for the number 2 role, ultimately making the final roster as the emergency third quarterback. However, he didn't take a single snap during the regular season. Rumors suggest that Wilson wants to move on from Denver, and the Raiders could be his next stop. However, Wilson's performance over the last 3 seasons with the Jets hasn't been great, and he doesn't seem to qualify for a starting role. If we compare Wilson to the Raiders' current QBs, Aidan O'Connell and Gardner Minshew, both are clearly better. Even just looking at completion percentage, Wilson's NFL career percentage is 57%, while Aidan's is 62.6%, and then Gardner Minshew's is 63.3%. So it's evident that both are ahead of Wilson in this aspect. Okay, now let's talk about the Raiders' current QBs, Aidan O'Connell and Gardner Minshew. What's their situation, and did they perform well enough last season for the Raiders to consider starting the 2025 season with one of them? Honestly, neither of these players have proven themselves as franchise quarterbacks. Gardner Minshew's time with the Jaguars and later the Eagles has shown that he can step in and hold down the fort when necessary. With the Raiders, Minshew has provided some stability at the quarterback position, but has never truly elevated his team to the level of a playoff contender. 10 games with 9 touchdowns and 10 interceptions in the 2024 season clearly highlight how unreliable Minshew can be. His lack of elite arm strength and tendency to struggle in high-pressure situations make him a less-than-ideal candidate to lead the Raiders into contention, especially in a division that boasts top-tier quarterbacks like Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert. Aidan O'Connell, on the other hand, the Raiders' second-year rookie quarterback, has also shown glimpses of promise. His college career featured solid performances, particularly in terms of accuracy and decision-making. Despite the optimism surrounding his potential, O'Connell has yet to prove himself in the professional ranks. His rookie year was marked by growing pains, and the Raiders may be hesitant to rely on him as their full-time starter just yet. If the team opts to go with O'Connell in 2025, they would likely be in a development phase, looking for long-term growth rather than immediate success. This could be a risky proposition considering the highly competitive nature of the AFC West and the Raiders' need to remain relevant in the playoff. Now, let's discuss the final option, the 2025 draft. It's highly likely that the Raiders will use their 7th pick to select a quarterback. The 2 most prominent names are Shedeur Sanders and Cam Ward. However, several teams with the first 6 picks are also in search of a quarterback, so it's too early to say if either of them will still be available by the 7th pick. It's also possible that if the Raiders decide to go with a rookie quarterback, they might trade picks with another team to move up in the draft. Another name that is keep popping up in the upcoming 2025 draft is Jaxson Dart. Ole Miss quarterback showcased mixed results at the 2025 Senior Bowl, making a case for his NFL draft status, but lacking consensus among scouts. Despite rushing for a touchdown and completing a 2-point conversion, his overall performance was described as inconsistent, with some scouts placing him on day 3 of the draft. While some experts believe he possesses the potential to be a top pick, concerns linger regarding his ability to perform consistently at the NFL level. Observations from practices indicated Dart's strengths in toughness and leadership, boosting his prospects despite the shaky game performance. While Dart may not be ready to start immediately, the Raiders could take a longer-term approach and allow him to develop behind a veteran quarterback. This would provide the team with a future signal caller who could lead the franchise for years to come. While it may take a few seasons for Dart to reach his full potential, the upside is there, and it could be the best option for a Raiders team that is in the early stages of a rebuild. So that's it for this discussion. Now, what do you think? Which path should the Raiders take in their search for a franchise quarterback? And who do you think will ultimately end up as a Raider? Share your thoughts in the comments below.